That's what happens, Skip, when you're not unified.
You're not unified.
When you get one group splinters off,
right.
And then there's other you have to take into account there are other people in this thing also.
So LeBron got, again, report, I wasn't there, but I'm reading all the reports. He got increasingly frustrated in what became a 2.5-hour meeting.
Right.
And he became at wit's end at the end of the night and heard no specific plan. It's like it was derailed.
Exactly.
It was completely off the tracks.
Okay, yeah, we boycott a game, now what?
Okay. So at the end, he finally says, you know what? I can't take this anymore. I am out of here. And he walks out, and a number of his, I don't know if all of his teammates followed him, but a number did. And then a number of the Clippers walk out. And then I believe someone from LeBron's camp told someone in the media that, hey, the Lakers and Clippers are prepared not to play. They're ready not to play in the playoffs. Our Chris Haynes, who we have on the show a lot, TNT, Yahoo, we had him on yesterday, and he was up front saying, I just don't believe they don't want to play. Right. Like they're going to sleep on it, and they're about to have another meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern yesterday to see if they had sort of slept it off. Right. Well, reportedly, a number of star players then went to LeBron's room to sort of talk him down, talk him off the ledge, because he was just at wit's end over what are we doing? Right. We just blew a huge opportunity to do this right. Right. And it worked out right for the Bucks. Right. The Bucks are the stars of the night, and they should be. I'm still applauding what they did. It was great. Yes. But it preempted everything that was already in motion, and it took all night to get LeBron kind of, okay, because, look, I'm with you. He wanted to play. Right. But remember, a lot of teams had internal dissension and doubt about going to the bubble, right? And he was out front from the beginning. In fact, ironically, he was kind of quiet about, I'm not going to say he was radio silent, but in the interim from the George Floyd murder in Minneapolis to the start of the bubble, he was fairly quiet because he was all in for basketball. Yes. I got no problem with that because, to your point, he's at the end of year 17. Right. He has a good team. It's 50-50 now between Clippers, Lakers. Maybe you can throw the Bucks. They're the third favorite right now. But does he have a great chance to go? Absolutely. You better believe he does. And I am not, because he has been such a trailblazer, such a powerful spokesman for racial justice for so many years in this league, that I got no problem with him wanting to go play basketball and maybe improve his legacy. He's got a real shot to go 4-6 in the finals instead of 3-6. And to me, 4-6 sounds a lot better than 3-6.
I think the thing is, for me, is that when Chris Paul and LeBron, what they're trying to put together, okay, let's put this together so we can seem unified. Okay, Skip, it's kind of like you and I. We're going to say, okay, Skip, that's what we're going to do. Next contract, we're going to go in there, we're going to ask for this, and this. Yep. And then you go in there, and then we go in there together. Well, Skip, you said this, and then we're like, hold on, wait a minute. You
preempted it.
Right. Yeah. So now all of a sudden it's like we're trying to play catch up. Well, the Bucks do what they did, and they didn't tell anybody. Okay. So how does Chris Paul and how does the other players react? So they don't really have a choice. What choice do they have in the matter? Because the whole thing was, Skip, we decided as a unit that we were going to the bubble. Yep. But you took this upon yourself when other people are involved, because you have to understand, for your actions, there are other people that have to have reactions. So I think that's the thing that was upsetting, because the one thing we know about the NBA and MLB, that their union is normally together, Skip. And they don't have one, doing this or saying that. Them and Michelle Roberts, they walk lockstep with the NBA. MLB, pretty much the same thing.
That is true. This was very un-NBA-like.
Yes.
Okay, so think about, in microcosm, George Hill sort of did it to LeBron again, because for those who don't remember this, George Hill, with 4 seconds left, he goes to the free throw line, game 1 at Oakland against the prohibitively favored Golden State Warriors, and he makes the first free throw to tie. That tied it at 107. Yeah. Well, he's got a free throw with 4. I don't know if they'd made a shot at the end of the, but this is to win the game potentially, and he missed it. Right. And then it gets exacerbated, it gets compounded by J.R. Smith's mental blunder. He dribbles out the clock. Right. the wrong direction. And LeBron is again at wit's end because George Hill has missed the free throw on a feed from LeBron.
Right.
And then JR has blown it all up. And so LeBron, and I didn't love this, but he went and sat a little apart from his team, and I thought he pouted, and they lost overtime 17-7, and he didn't shoot for the first 2.5 minutes of overtime. Whatever. The point is, George Hill, of all players, who, as a Spurs fan, I'll forever remember that R.C. Buford traded George Hill for Kawhi Leonard. He did, straight up. And he also got Davis Bertans, who's a really good player, now obviously in Washington. But he got both the Kawhi pick and Davis Bertans back for George Hill. Is that not one of the all-time steals?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so that's what I remember from George Hill. He went to IUPUI, you know, like small school, Indianapolis. So the point is, that's the guy who did it to LeBron a second time and forced, you know, sort of pushed LeBron into a funk. Like, how could you do this? Because he was the emotional leader of the Bucks.
Right. And because I think, and also, Skip, I believe that, okay, if we come out as you, now we can demand, because they did it like this, Skip, okay, you might have it. So we need to come together, have an idea. Okay, these are the three or four most important things that we want to relay to the owners. Well, when the Bucks did what they did, okay, we're just protesting because doesn't seem to be anything done. What are you asking in return? What are you asking the owners to do? And Chris and LeBron are probably sitting there because, like you said, Skip, you need to strategize. You need to plot. You need to plan, as Killer Mike says, plot, plan, strategize, mobilize. Okay, I love that, by the way. Skip, I don't think a whole lot of plotting. I don't think a whole lot of planning. I don't think a whole, strategizing went into what they did. It seemed really
to the Bucks,
right?
Well, they didn't know that they were fighting in the locker room, not fighting, but debating in the locker room. Should we? Shouldn't we? Till 5 seconds left, and all of a sudden they just plunge and say, "We're out. We don't play." What?
Well, see that. But a lot of times, what happened? My grandfather told a story that he was working on the farm, and he said they had agreed. Well, he was working, and they had agreed to tell the man that they wanted to raise. They was going to get more money, so they pushed my grandfather up to go ask. Well, my grandfather asked. So when the man asked, well, who's all in agreement with Barney? Ain't nobody say nothing. My granddad said they cut his pay. You see, Skip, all of a sudden you need everybody. You need one voice. So if we're going to speak, make sure that we're all in agreement.
Obviously. And yet you can't condemn the Bucks for what they did.
No.
It was like almost an emotional overreaction at the last second that blindsided the whole league. Okay,
Skip, if you want to blindside the whole league, that's fine. But the Players Association, Chris Paul, Iggy, guys that are in the bubble, that are in that's the council of the NBA PA. That's a whole different ball game, Skip.
It is. And remember what George Hill said just a few days back? We shouldn't have came to this damn place to start with, honestly. Okay, so he was out already, sort of, his heart was out of it. And yet, there were a number of, according to Chris Haynes, the majority, maybe the vast majority of players who attended the 8 o'clock meeting, they still wanted to play. And Michelle Roberts, bless her heart, she had made it very clear to them, if you guys stop now, they are severe and long-lasting because you're going to lose a huge chunk of your salary. I think it was like 25 to 30% of your salary you're going to lose next year if you stop now. And you're going to open the door for them to blow up your collective bargaining agreement and lock you out and start this whole thing over. You are risking disaster, financial disaster here if you do this. Well, who knows this better than LeBron James? Who gets it better than LeBron when it comes to that kind of financial power? He's not going to not play.
It's Skip. And plus, also, if you remember what he says, when I read up on things, I educate myself, I'll speak on it. Trayvon Martin. So he's very meticulous on what he's willing to speak out on. That's why everybody, when the thing happened in China, well, LeBron, like, man, I wasn't even thinking about no China. I was just over here to play a basketball game. And you want me to respond to something Daryl Morey tweeted in the middle of the night.
He was reticent because he said, I just don't know.
So when he feels that that when he's educated himself on a topic, he will speak on that topic. And right now, and you see the way his approach is that you get out the vote, and, you know, he teamed up with the Dodgers about the polling station.
He did.
So I think that's the biggest thing, Skip. He just wanted, look, George, if you want to, you know, have a speaking part in this, I got no problem with that. But let us all strategize. Let's all mobilize, come up with a plan of how we're going to move forward and what we're going to be asking these 30 owners to give us in return. And we're not talking about donating money to the community. We need their contacts. We need their outreach, because they're the bridge into which we can get to the people, the lawmakers, the police heads, the mayors, the governors, the state senators, and legislators.
So LeBron James in the beginning went to the bubble with two purposes: to win a championship and to use that stage, which is still a huge, great stage, to make some resounding racial justice statement. And he saw his opening and his opportunity right here, right now, after what happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He's poised. Chris Paul is poised. This would have been a shining moment for both of them, and I think especially for LeBron James. And all of a sudden, he got preempted by George Hill.
Skip, you remember the ESPYs? You remember when Chris Paul, LeBron James, D-Wade, Carmelo?
Do I?
That was the moment of the ESPYs.
It was.
But it was planned. It didn't all of a sudden, hey, guys, right before, hey, we got something we want to do. They had planned it.
It was planned, and it was scripted as it should have been. Okay.
That's what you have to do in situations like this. Skip, Dr. King ain't just show up. He just didn't fly in one day and start speaking. It was a plan to go to Birmingham. It was a plan to march on Washington. It was a plan to get fair housing. Skip, people, I don't know how many realize this, but Dr. King, when he was trying to get fair housing, he rented an apartment in Chicago. Skip, he says, I don't know if the nonviolent protest that we use in the South is going to be able to work up in the North.
So while the Bucks got